form of this meeting public recording. Any questions or concerns should be directed to the city legal department.
Thank you. We can continue on with the city attorney's report.
Under 8B, at this point, we will consider this at a later date. Moving on to 8C, we have a proposed ordinance approving an application before the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals by Ryan Companies USA Incorporated for the installation of an 8-foot tall black vinyl chain link fence around the employee parking lot at the property located at 2201 West 159th Street here in Markham. With respect to that, let me just give you, if I may, a little background. In terms of this matter, it appeared on September 20th, 2021, after due notice of being published, the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals held a public hearing on the application by Ryan Companies US Incorporated for the installation of the aforesaid 8-foot tall black vinyl chain link fence around the employee parking lot at the property located 2201 West 159th Street here in Markham. A hearing was held, evidence was presented, individuals were given an opportunity to speak about this matter, and with respect to the final decision, the board did, after listening to all interested parties, make the following recommendation: that a variance be provided for the installation of the fence. The vote being 7 ayes, no nays, 1 commissioner being absent, signed by the secretary. The actual documentation appears variously in exhibits 1 and 2 attached to the proposed ordinance. And at this point, it's presented to you tonight for approving that application.
Can we open the meeting up to Amazon? Can we open the meeting up to them? No? Okay. Okay. Yes, take one and pass it down.
Okay, so we're at point, do we motion for to accept the recommendation of the planning board?
Alderman McDowell.
Yeah, this is the question.
Oh.
This is number C. Letter C we on. Right? Letter C.
Conforms to approving an application before the Planning and Zoning Board of the Appeals by Ryan and Company, U.S. Company, for the installation of an 8-foot tall black vinyl chain at the property of 2201 West 159th Street in the city of Markham.
Second.
Motion by Alderman McDowell, second by Alderman Barron, to waive the reading for ordinance approving the application for the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals by Ryan Companies. As read. This is a waive, so this is not a question still yet. So this would just go to roll call.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman Barron,
Yes.
Alderwoman Hampton Hauser,
Yes.
Alderwoman McDowell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I make a motion that we adopt on number 21-0-2312, ordinance approving the application before the planning and zoning board of appeals of Ryan Company, U.S. and Company for the installation of an 8-foot tall black vinyl chain link fence around the employee parking lot at the property of 2201 West 159th Street in Markham, Illinois.
Second.
Motion by Alderman McDowell, second by Alderman Barron for approval, ordinance approval for application before Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals by Ryan Companies, U.S. Inc. As read. Now we're at question. Question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My question was the design of the fence and the size of the fence. Yeah, I know our ordinance states that we can have a 4-foot fence, and I was thinking the fence gonna be more aligned the style of Hope Funeral Home. It's very appealing, it's gated and gives you that same protection. So that was my thoughts. So when I opened this packet up and I saw this, I'm like, whoa, that's gonna be an entire front area. So I took the time and I drove around to Balmer Road in Monee, Manhattan Road in Monee. I went to Madison and Balmer Road, even Chicago. And none of them have a 8-foot fence like this in front of their property. We're like the only ones. And when I spoke to people, they said, well, we got that in the back for our trucks and stuff, but not in the front. So I just have a concern on the appearance of the fence and the size of the fence in the front.
I
And that's
concur
why I
with
just
some
showed
of
the
the
pictures here of the
Yeah.
differences I took.
some of the thought with it, but I actually drove by, I think after we kind of conversed about, I didn't know you had pictures, but I knew that I had no doubt that it would be different, meaning the other locations would not have it. They've already started erecting the fence.
And I noticed that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't they do that before, that after we passed it?
Well, the issue with that is that they've got a building permit that just is a continuous building permit. So anything is ongoing over there. So after they put it in and they knew it was approved, I didn't find out until I left you the other night. So that they were working like that. So they were going along, and we didn't stop it, but they're only halfway done. So we still can stop it if that's what the board wants to do. The only thing that I would say is that, and then I'll let attorney can chime in too, but what were these questions brought to the planning and zoning? I don't know. I didn't have time to read the whole document. Did these same questions for us lumped in?
Yes, Ms. Reed, I spoke to Ms. Reed and she had some questions about it. And she was telling me there would be sleeves in it, at first, and there's going to be an 8-foot fence with sleeves in it. And then when I talked to him on Saturday, it was like, no, it's going to be a basic black fence, 8-foot fence. And then it made me go do the research at other agencies to see, how other towns are doing it. So that's what that was about.
Well,
I wasn't here today. I was at another meeting, so I couldn't make it to the planning, but I told about it.
I can't say that it looks horrible. I wish, I could say this sometimes, that we'd have the same that everybody else kind of gets. I kind of know some of the reason I think why, but I'm not going to speculate. I wasn't at the meeting to do question and answer. Did you have something to add? Maybe.
Yes, I would like for some clarification. Part of the ordinance, the very last 2 documents were emailed before after the application was filed. And I clearly stated to Amazon that pursuant to Markham Code section 156.4385, they need to have a reason for this variance, for this fence. It's going to be different than what was permitted by the code. In response, I received this email and I incorporated the application as a supplement. It said, he stated, when I asked for the reason, he said, I reached out, and this is Ryan Company, so I reached out to Amazon Construction Manager and received the following information for why the 8-foot fence is being requested. Amazon uses something called a TAC index to assess the need for additional security measures for a given building site. They use it to identify sites that may have higher likelihood of incidents of theft and vandalism. The site of Markham has been identified as a medium/high risk, so that they would like to put an 8-foot fence up around the employee parking lot. Since the ordinance only allows for 4-inch tall fence along the street, of Amazon is requesting approval for variance of an 8 fence for security purpose. CAP index score below for 1 mile illustrates a medium risk with high homicide and aggravated assault. This is a replicate at 3 miles. CAP score works on the national average scale, so 100 represents the average. So in this case, homicide at the 1 and 3 mile radius represent nearly 9 miles, the national average. Motor vehicle theft rate is medium at both sides. So that was the reason, the hardship reason why they felt that they had to even request this area.
Right, and I understand that, but if you look at the 4th page, this is the Amazon in Chicago and Western. If they not hardcore, you tell me what it is. So on Western, they have a nice looking fence. It's not the same type of fence. You know, so I mean, I was just looking at the appearance of it, you know, instead of this prison-like fence going to the front of it. I mean, I like the one like a Hope Funeral Home. I think that's a beautiful rendition of a nice fence, and it gives appeal to the building. You know, so I understand security, you know, but they could have got the security out of a different type of fence also. So that was my only concern.
Unfortunately, we wasn't considered in the comments at the meeting, and the board did actually unanimously, after the presentation, approved it, but that does not mean that this board can send it back to the board for some modifications if they need to have an additional hearing, but the board did hold a public hearing, notice was published, and we didn't receive any comments as such as you have put forth today.
I understand.
Well, my comment, board members, you all have any other comments to it? I'll
No,
give
sir.
mine anyway. Mine is just that as much as I thought I knew the reason, and I did. I just probably wouldn't have been Amazon. I think that as much as I like a better fence too, the fact remains that there has to be a fence in the first place. That's my issue. So I'm more concerned about why we have to put up fences than to have them. And I would like a good looking one for sure, but that didn't happen here. Maybe we can visit that another time. We have to have a fence, obviously, for the very reason that if I would know you were going to read all that and I had time to read it, I probably would have added something a little different. But it is what it is. That's just a reality of where we're at. And I'd like to find a way to not have to have fences. And I think that we as a city are working on that. I think that we are working on the real issues of that. And, you know, there's no, I don't know, you know, I certainly, you know how I am about how something looks, but I think that this thing is kind of down the road a little bit.
Mayor Power,
Yes.
you know, it's still kind of an isolated area. Of course, they've taken land that's been really run down for many years, and they turned it into something really beautiful. But I don't see that it's out of line surrounding their employees' parking lot. And if that's the measure of security that they're looking for them, I wholeheartedly support it.
Anyone else?
I'm good. No,
Okay.
no questions.
Okay. All right, well, no questions, then we'll just have to go to roll call here then.
Alderwoman McDowell.
Yes.
Alderman Barron,
Yes,
Alderman Hampton Hauser,
Yes.
Alderman Jones.
No.
Motion carried.
Okay,
Next, we will pass on 8D, 8E, and 8F. There are no matters outstanding for discussion under G, H, I, and J. And we do need an executive session under 8K for litigation. So I'd like to reserve approximately 15 minutes at the appropriate time to discuss matters under 8K litigation. Other than that, that's all that I have for my report. Thank you.
thank you, Attorney. City Clerk's report.
Okay, I have a business license for Amazon. And I believe Amazon has representatives online this evening.
Okay, good evening. Can we have a motion to open the meeting for representatives of Amazon for their business license this evening?
May I make a motion? I'm sorry, Wanda. My apologies.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Jackson and Miss Lowe. Good evening to both of you. You're on mute, Miss Lowe. You can come off mute if you like. The city council here this evening may have some questions of you. I think that we kind of know what we're here for tonight, though. This has been a long time coming for you all to be before us for the actual licensing. So we're glad you're here tonight. So council members, any questions?
Yes, I have a question. On here, you have the address as being 15924 Western Avenue. 15924 Western Avenue. That's the parking lot. I thought the address was 2201 West 159th Street. So could you give me clarification on that?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hear you.
You got an echo.
Yeah, we're getting some feedback.
You got to turn something off.
Yeah.
You got something.
Okay, perfect. So actually, when we had initially made the business license application, we had the address of the parking lot. And then in speaking to kind of the team on the ground there in Markham, discovered that the actual business address is 2201 West 159th Street, Markham, Illinois, 60428. So I contacted the city shortly thereafter and updated your systems with the correct address. I think there might have been some confusion initially just because it is a new build. So, but yeah, that was the record. So.
It needs to be 2201 on all sides of the app.
Because that's the proper address.
The business address.
So we'll make a correction to that. Is that correct?
Sorry, say that one more time.
We're going to make a correction to that. Is that correct? Is that what we'll be doing?
Correct, yeah. So I had contacted the business license department, but if there's anyone else who I should contact to update that, then I'm happy to do so. So, yeah.
We'll make sure that we point you in the right direction.
Okay, great. Thank you. I appreciate
First thing in the morning.
Yeah. And I have one more question for legal. Are all the application fees, even for Amazon, only $150?
So I believe that.
That's not the, that's just the process.
The process. So the process straight
Right.
across the board
Yeah, that's the process. Everybody gets that standard charge.
in the license fee?
The license fee, I'm not certain what that comes to.
Okay.
They got some measure of calculation that they fit in by category.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they will be getting a license fee.
Was that?
They will be having a license fee.
Oh, they gotta have the license. It's
Okay,
not-
good.
No, they've got plenty over there, so they'll
Okay.
be glad to work with us on that.
Awesome. No further questions.
Any other questions,
No, sir.
council? All right, I think that Ms. Lowe covered everything, Mr. Jackson, so Did you have anything to add additional or no?
Mayor, I make a motion that we close the meeting, to Amazon.
Second.
Just want to say thank you, everyone.
All right, we'll allow that one in. They closed it, but we'll take the thank you.
Okay.
We had a hard time.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
What's your pleasure, council?
I make a motion that we grant a business license to Amazon.
Second.
Motion by Alderlady McDowell, second by Alderman Jones to grant business license for Amazon. Any questions? Roll call?
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderwoman McDowell,
Yes.
Alderman Hampton Hauser,
Yes.
Alderman Barrett,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. In the morning, see Mr. Robbie about your license. And the address change as well, okay? Thank you very much. Okay, Madam Clerk. Is that that's all you have? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the mayor's report. Once again, good evening, everyone. Just got a few matters that I'd like to mention. One of the things that is happening a little bit of everywhere, every time we turn on the television, there is, and when you say television instead of TV, you might be dating yourself when you say that, but we just have a country, much less even our local area, that is just violent, and it's just everywhere that we go. I would like to say that, and send out our condolences as a city to the Stevenson family on the loss of their child that happened here in our community. And I think just as we talked about why a company needed a fence, we need to have more conversation. As I recently texted a message to all the council to have a discussion about what it is we're going to do in our community about violence. I, for one, I'm not a real big person on marches and all that kind of stuff. That I'm looking for solutions. I understand that there's places and times where we get together and we might want to be able to have a balloon send off and all these different things, but no sooner than all of these candlelight vigils go on and all that, they're back shooting. So what good is it? You know, it's, to me, it's sometimes a waste of time. So what are we really doing about our neighborhoods and trying to get down to the bare facts and the truth to not commit the crimes of the violence? I believe again that we have to demand, and I believe that whether they were shooting or not, that there has to be a standard of living, period. That's how most of us, if we have any hair or it's gray, we were raised that way. And pretty much we told the line and that's how we did it. So I just still want to engage with you individually. I'd like your thoughts. I have mine and I've had them since I've been elected. Since day one, I've always felt that there's a way that we can combat the violence, and we can also combat the way that the behavior is in our community. So I would definitely ask for all of the council's input about what we're going to do to fortify Markham to make it strong against violence. We've had more than our share of shootings, and they weren't bar related. I'll say that as well. I'm fair with the bars as well. They've had theirs, but we've had them equally without. But certainly there's different elements in the community that if you have less of it, you have less of the other things that can happen. So I just wanted to lead off and ask the council members to still continue to keep it in mind of what we could do better in our community and what we can do to meet and talk about ways to make things better in Markham and safer for the people that live here. Because for us to have a child killed on our watch, it's just not something that any of us, I know, take lightly. And I know that we take it to heart. And I know that we need to come up with the strategies of why people elected us to be here. And I think that we know how to do this. We've seen it, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So you can certainly respond this evening in your report if you like, or you can definitely do as I'm asking, let's get together, folks. We owe it to everybody here to do this, and we can. I know we can. So on another note, a good note, I will say, is that I had the honor and the privilege yesterday of going to visit a resident that is tenured in life to have lived 99 years. So they're about 1920s. She come to this world and she's seen more than just what we're seeing here. That's Miss Flora Bryant. And I'll tell you what, when I got elected and sworn in the first time, she was right on the line calling and saying, Mayor, I prayed for you. And I still have her recording to this day that I listen to that reminds me of what life once was and still can be. When you have someone to live that long, that's what I think that we're doing here. So God bless Flora Bryant and her 99 years. And I certainly hope she sees 100 with us, and God willing, we'll see her next year and celebrate her.
Amen.
One of the other things I wanted to mention is that we had a very successful first annual Heritage Festival. I think it was very successful in embracing the Hispanic community. Just as we celebrate Black History Month and some of the other things that we celebrate, we were able to celebrate our other neighbors, and they really enjoyed themselves. And I vowed to try to speak Spanish before my term is up. So that's one of my goals that I'm going to work on. But I think that to learn the culture and to embrace them as neighbors in our community, what more could we ask for than to be able to learn about someone else and the way they live. And I think that we are getting to see that. Just as others had to embrace us and sometimes did not, we don't want to do or give the same turn to others that we may have had to us. We want to certainly do unto others as we would want it done to us. One other matter in terms of business, I recently tendered just the other day for the time being. Again, I owed it to the police and the fire chief to reappoint them as interims. We still have some other things that we want to evaluate about the distance we go, but I did appoint both of them, and I'll get those letters to you as interims. That's where they will stand, and I did that just the other day and shall get copies to you both, and eventually, I got copies to both of them, and we'll get copies to you all. And certainly when it comes time to make them permanent, I'll look for confirmation from the council. Two other matters. I'm saving the one part of business I've talked with you all about, but I'll get to one other general matter. Taxes are an issue throughout Cook County, business and residential. This council really doesn't have a great deal to do with what happens with taxes, but
Sometimes we do. We certainly can help taxes by who we can invite into the community to help share the tax load. And maybe if it's inviting enough, we get some tax traffic. And it will help take off the burden of what we all have to pay. But irregardless, that tax burden is upon all of us. And it's divided up for Markham, sometimes unequally, not shared properly. And that's what we as legislators, we will go after to try to make sure that it's done as fair as possible. That's the key. To constantly keep our eye on how we can do these things in a fair way. Because the tax, if it's appealed, let's say for a business, and they appeal it, and that tax has to still go somewhere in Markham. So it still gets put off somewhere if they appeal it. Because the tax overall is still due. And that's the number in the allotment for us. So we will continue to encourage business and try to do things to maintain property and certainly have a safe community. So people would want to be here and help share that tax burden and that load that we all have. So the last item before I go to the city administrator, I've talked with each of you about some proposals for landscaping that I received from the Canterbury management. Some of you looked it over, and I've talked with some of you as well about it. I've always been in favor. I talked with them months and months ago down at the shopping center. They've come in and talked to me about this. And I've really been up in arms about the way that the shopping center looks. A lot of us have, and it's just time that we try to utilize some of the TIF to try to give them an opportunity to do some of what they're asking down there. They have 3 asks, but there's only one thing that's been in the package to you all, and I think we'll have to get those out to you to discuss it. One matter that is not before you, and it should have been, is I'll just discuss it and we'll get the paperwork to you. We have a business that is requesting to come in, and it is a furniture store. And the square footage is asking for, by code, that the building is sprinkled. So they're looking for a percentage of a very expensive sprinkler system to be put in to the building, and they're looking for a percentage from us, which I'll make sure you get the paperwork, but I can tell you the sprinkler is about $80,000. And I think that we were right about 35%, or give or take, of I got them to about 30,000 to maybe try and work with them instead of a 50-50 split, to try to encourage the business to come in, and they'll have to pick up that and then more after that. The other matter is some, again, parking lot improvements that they want to make. That would include some of the seal coat work that they want to do with some other potholes and different things like that down there to work on. The one proposal that you do have is that for landscaping, which I didn't tally it up. It doesn't, and I'll tell you, it's really not going to matter if we tallied it or not. That comes to about 70,000 plus, from what I can tell from my math, thereabout. But knowing what is in the TIF, it'd be my recommendation to not fully accept what they're asking to do with this proposal anyway. That is because there really isn't enough money to do all the things that are being asked out there. But this is pretty straightforward in terms of perhaps we try to support them to get some of these things off of the property in the fall months
and revisit this in the spring and see if we can work with them that way. But to try to do the whole thing, I think, and just say that this is what we're gonna commit to, maybe in 2 weeks or less, we can try to figure this out. I know we have to try to do a special meeting for Thornton's. Maybe we can get all 3 of these items back to the council to try to help improve our shopping center, at least in the terms of the way it looks down there. And then we can visit some other things in the spring. So if there's any question about what you've already had before you on this, let me know. We can discuss that.
Yes, Mayor, I have a couple questions. Now, I noticed last week there was seal coating not announced. Who's doing the seal coating? Are they doing it? Are we doing that?
Well, they asked if they do the seal coating, and again, it's almost like the fence. So they're gonna just have to hope that we approve something because it hasn't been approved at this point.
Because if I do recall, I thought we did the seal coating maybe about 3 or 4 years back.
Right.
Okay,
Thereabout.
okay,
So
okay.
they're gonna be on hold and hopefully, I don't know how far they got with it. But it was just one of those things. I know that they were gonna probably be rolling the dice, but it is what it is. This council never said yes on that, but I do understand that they need to get ahead of the weather, but we still have to have our time to do that, so.
My next question is, if we put the $75,000 into this landscape project, hypothetically, who's going to maintain it? Because it seems like they're not maintaining what they have. So, I mean, why put money towards something and they don't maintain it?
Right, and again, I'm not ready for 75,000 right now, but you're right hypothetically, but they do have another company that does maintain the property, so it would be maintained.
I have pictures also of that. They got bushes, having the edge trimmed. So, I mean, let's see what they're doing, what they have already. I think if they trim those up a little bit, it'd be great. They're not even doing that.
It'd be nice. It's almost like, putting lipstick on a pig, because it's just a bad look. That stuff just needs to come out. I think it's been there since I was a little boy and I used to go over there, gold black. Maybe it's been there that long.
Evergreens need to be boring. They need to be trimmed up. The evergreens is that,
Well, I'm not gonna try and do all the landscape for them.
But I just want them to see, that's what they do the landscape. Just do something on it.
Well, yeah, but it would be nice, but that isn't where they're heading with it. They're asking us to consider to do a facelift now. So, I'm not gonna try and tell them how to do it all. Do we want to support trying to get it cleaned up and make a new look down there? I'm more for,
I mean,
instead of trying to polish up what's down there, and it's a mess, we need to take, I'm with supporting what they're asking to say, let's yank it out of there and let's make it fresh.
and I'm all for that too, because I think this council has been more than generous, because I think we even gave them a break of like $100,000 on their fees and stuff, on their rentals or something like that to one of the companies and to the landlord. He was going into the red zone with his bills. So I think this council made a generous gift to him when we helped him with his getting the mortgage stuff together for those companies. So this council has been very nice to Canterbury Shopping Center.
But some of that, it's being nice for sure. I wouldn't take that away, but some of it's just obligation of the tip. That's our responsibility to support them as well. Now, we always want to make sure, I think that there's some places we have to, because I think we've shared this as a council, we want to make sure that they have skin in the game. That's the old word, right? And that is something that I told you that when we discussed it as well, that I intend to make sure that they get to the table. Because I think that we need to revisit the agreement. It may fall on deaf ears because we've got a signed agreement with them, but what difference or what do they to try and talk about? We have a commitment with them. I think it's till 2024, thereabout. But I still think that we should ask them to come in the room. They've been doing pretty well.
Exactly.
And we need to improve our shopping center, not just one store. I appreciate what
with them being down there, but we needed to do other things like discussing. Maybe we wouldn't feel the way feel about this if we had more to work with.
Okay.
The other thing is with the new management team, you know, I'm carrying their water today, but I'm really carrying it because we all carry that shopping center. So, I mean, that's why we all have equal stake in, no matter what ward we're in, we all have something, a vested interest in that center. But I feel like I'm, you know, obviously the spokesperson today, which I'm not, but it comes to my office because I'm the mayor, but I want to get that management group in the office. And we need to have a discussion about them making more improvements. So I don't mind some of this cosmetic stuff, but the building needs some stuff and they need to do. We need to aesthetically be able to look at that building and it looks modern like some of the other centers. But that's what I'm looking for from them. I don't mind some, you know, $100,000 or $70,000 for bushes. That's for that kind of property. That's not a lot of money. We deal with landscape all day, but how much of this are we going to take? So either way, I'll bring this back to the council when we do the authorities meeting, and we can vote for it at that time. And I'm just looking to, because since I've talked to you all, I'm just considering to give them enough to take the stuff out, and we'll talk about putting something in next year.
So we want to just pull it out and leave it bare?
Well, it won't look bad the way that they explained that they would do that. It won't
Really?
look bad when they take it out.
So you
Well, it
don't,
actually looked pretty nice.
so I mean, because we get into September, November, should we just trim what we have and just target for next year for this project?
Well, again, I'm not really.
Because of the weather?
I took that wasn't their proposal.
Okay, I'm just throwing things out there. I'm just asking the questions.
No,
All right.
I'll ask
Mm-hmm.
them. But I'll bring it back.
Yeah, because we're in December now, you know, so it's just a thought.
Okay, thank you. All right, with that, that was my last time. I'll see you all when we'll deal with these other things during special meeting. With that, I'll go over to the city administrator, Mr. Champion.
Yep, good evening, everyone. Just real quick, I want to just chat about Amazon just for a few minutes. Right now, it's appearing that the facility is going to open up fully sometime in November. But at the end of October, they will be sending out some test runs as far as making sure that some of the conveyors are working properly before they open up fully. So kind of stay tuned for dates. I am working with the leadership team for some type of grand opening or ribbon cutting ceremony. So stay tuned for that. Also, I want to encourage individuals to continue to apply for jobs at Amazon. We have about 3,000 jobs at this facility. You can continue to look at our website, social media platforms, and you can also text the word Amazon jobs to 77088. These jobs are paying, some of these jobs are paying up to, some of the L1 jobs are paying up to $22 an hour. And they also have $3,000 bonuses. So please encourage your constituents and your residents in your area to apply for these jobs. So we want to make sure that the people of Markham, you know, they have an opportunity to not only work in the city that they belong to, but to earn some, you know, some real incentives too, I'm sure. College tuition and everything else for medical benefits. So please encourage everybody to apply for jobs that are looking for jobs. There are quite a few jobs that are available. On another note, want to let you know we're still working with our lobbyists. We're identifying grants. We're going after grants. I have some in process now. We want to make sure that we're still focusing on some of the flooding issues, infrastructure issues around here, sewage. So we're looking into grants to basically help with a lot of things that I think Markham is in need of right now. So we're really paying attention to what's coming down the pipeline from the federal government to state and county government as well. Also want to just know that we are looking for viable businesses to be a part of this community. I know the mayor and I, we talk at length about diversifying the tax base around here, but making sure that we have viable businesses that are coming into Markham. So we want to, we're encouraging individuals to keep an open mind about some of the businesses that we're looking at. As we are identifying businesses, we will be, reaching out to the council and our aldermen and all the women in their respective wards to make sure that it's something that you all want in your areas. Also, I know the mayor talked about the Hispanic Heritage event, and we're glad that it was a great turnout. It was a wonderful day. I also want to go back to that same day on September 25th. Want to give a huge thanks to Ryan Companies. We had a great park rededication at Rosner Park. As many of you already know, that Ryan Companies have invested in our quality of life. And that's one of the things that we are really passionate about here is improving the quality of life. And we want to make sure that our parks are taken care of and our community partners understand. Amazon is, we're working with them right now. They're ready to make a splash in the city as well continuously. They're going to be here for a while. So kind of, stay tuned for some great things that are happening. I want to highlight an individual that is from Markham who actually showed up at the baseball field. I know Alderman Jones and Alderwoman McDowell and the mayor, they had a chance to meet a young man by the name of Justin Hart. He is one of the top prospects in the country. He's a sophomore at Marian Catholic. He's a left-handed pitcher that is throwing about close to a 90-mile-an-hour fastball. His parents are great individuals. They are really trying to work with the city of Markham and get our youth involved in baseball. And we want to make sure that we welcome somebody that is from Markham, and he is really looking to get back to his community that he was born and raised in. That will wrap it up for the city administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Champion. One thing that I want to mention while my report's still open here, and I have to mention it later. All of you should have had an appraisal report that we did not discuss, but that's towards the effort of the Thornton property for us. We're waiting for another one. That's why we're having a special meeting. So Attorney Reed didn't mention that, but at least we've got one report for appraisal. We'll have another one coming in to get monies for that property. Okay, with that, we can go over to new business. Alderman Jones.
Yes, thank you. Also, I'd like to give out my condolences to the Demetrius Stevens family. You know, the young man, 8 years old, was shot on Holman. You know, I went to the funeral and they dressed in red and white. They really sent them off really well. I mean, it was a really heartwarming funeral. They had a person they called Miss Left, and she really gave a nice speech about, how death is life. It was really touching what she said about that. But I think, Mayor, one of the things that we have to do as a community is create activities for our youth, somewhere for them to go. I think that's the biggest thing that we're missing here. I remember as a child, our parks was our safe zone. The park districts was our safe zone. That's where we went to play. We went to have fun, and we saw security cops. We saw cops out there, and we felt comfortable there. It's unfortunate you have kids that have no place to play, have no place to go. And I think that's what we're missing here, along with more police officers, because, we try to create the lateral transfer. We haven't received any police officers yet. But I believe that what we're missing is a vital point in Markham. You're doing a great job with businesses, with the homes, but we have to create a place for our young people to go. That's why I really want to push now more than ever before the reopen of Markham roller rink. Where, I was just talking to somebody today, and was like, man, when I was at Markham roller rink, that was the place. We went there to have fun, and they feel safe there. And I think that's what we need again, that place of that safe zone where kids can be kids. You know, they can have fun, they can entertain, and I mean, even take it to the next level. We can call it the Markham Roller Rink and Entertainment Facility, where we can have, you know, repasses, we can have parties, they can do poker tournaments. We can do a variety of things. Just a couple of months ago, we had a car show there. I was like, man, you know, if we can do a car show here, we can do anything here. So opening this up is I think it's very key that we open up the Markham Roller Rink so that people have place to go. And I thank you, Ryan Company. Thank you, Chanel, for what you all did with the parks. You know, once again, let's create that safe zone where kids can go to play and have fun, you know, where they can feel safe. You know, I think we're missing that. You know, people say, well, you get them together. Well, I think you can be controlled. I think we need to focus on our youth, you know, and I think that's the vision that I see that can better our community, because a lot of times these kids are key turn kids. They, you know, they have a single family and they don't have nothing to do. And the Bible says, "The idle mind is the devil workshop." Well, that's not the Bible. That's just my grandma talking to me. But, you know, I think that that's very important that we create that safe zone for kids. And I think that'll go a real long way. Also, I just mentioned DD's Discount. They opened up a couple of weeks ago, and it was really nice in the 3rd Ward. And I really enjoyed the time we had there. Spent a lot of money. And I just hope that everybody, you know, support the shopping center and supports the parks, because the parks are the future doctors, the future lawyers, the future scientists, and the future parents of this great city of Markham. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Jones. Alderman Barron. Good evening.
I'd just like to mention a few things. I thought the Hispanic festival was over the top. Received a lot of comments. Everybody really seemed to enjoy it. I had I had an experience where I had a truck pull down wires out of my house, and I had different crews here by my home reinstalling my power lines and everything. And I actually met a few people. One of them was a realtor, but this guy from ComEd was just telling me that, you know, he's got a home at 169th and Western in Hazel Crest, and he said, I want to thank you for all you've done bringing Amazon in. He said, in the last year, my home values have increased by $20,000. And that is, I mean, that's phenomenal. And actually, I see what homes are selling for in my neighborhood right now. The numbers are really encouraging. I say that, but on the other hand, I'm also upset with the assessment value that they've placed on our businesses. And my businesses along Pulaski, Crawford Avenue have just been astronomical, and they're forcing a lot of these people to locate to different counties, or in some cases, since we're so close to Indiana, we're going to lose business to the state of Indiana. So I would encourage anything to open a dialogue with the assessor, because, you know, I was part of the meeting they had but Commissioner Sims hosted, and he did exactly the opposite of what he said he was going to do. So I'm a little bit upset with that. I can't say enough about the improvement, water reclamation, and on this CUDD creek improvement. It's over the top, and Markham has benefited in many ways. I think it's going to reduce flooding, and if it reduces flooding along the CUDD, it's going to help in the other neighborhoods. The other thing is, it looks very nice. They're not quite done. They're expecting to be done by the middle of November. Markham has benefited by getting new sewers installed along the backside of Blackstone in the 38 and 3700 block, and the same with Arthur Terrace. And it's just been, you know, I've followed this project for a long time. It was started by my wife, and It's receiving a lot of positive intake, and a lot of people are enjoying it. It's very unfortunate, the shooting, and some of the stuff is coming coming to Markham because it's coming from other neighborhoods. And you know, I'm a supporter of the Park District, but the one thing, and I know through my own grandkids that you know, what worked in this town when I was a kid doesn't work here anymore. I mean, we've done everything. I mean, we built a $600,000 ballpark, and we can't get anybody interested in playing baseball. Mustang football started in Markham. There was one time there was a time when Markham had a boys league, a farm league, a minor league, a major league. Girls baseball started here. So it's just very hard creating a safe zone, because in my own experience with my own grandkids is they're more into playing games than they are, you know, physical activity, which, you know, baseball, football, soccer. And I don't have the answer, but I support anything that would benefit these children. So I wish I had the answer, because I'd be more than happy to share it with you and work toward those goals. With that, and also the park dedications were very, very nice. Still getting a lot of comments. The one thing, a week doesn't go by that somebody doesn't come up and tell me how much better Markham looks. And we're soon to be finished with 159th and Crawford, and that's going to increase our traffic flow immensely. So cars will move through there quicker. And today they were working on the center strips. I expect that they'll be done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And that'll be the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Lady Hampton.
So good evening, Mayor, good evening, Council, good evening, City of Markham. This one, not too much, just a little brief report. I do agree that we do need to try to strategically come up with a better plan in reference to trying to get our children more interested in physical activities versus activities just sitting at home on the cell phone. As we do know, the Park District sent out a booklet almost every year, but I don't think we had it during the COVID, I'm not quite for sure. But in this booklet that they mail out is activities for the spring, summer, and fall. Unfortunately, we still do not get enough children to actually participate in these activities. I do recognize and realize that generations are totally different from how it was when I was being raised. Because if my parents told me I couldn't go outside, that's punishment. But it's a little bit different with the generations today, and I do think that we strategically need to try to figure out what else we can do to actually get them more involved and kind of put their minds on positive versus negative. So yeah, we need to try to figure something out on that end. Also, just want to let the citizens in Ward 1 know that Public Works is coming around in our ward, and we are cutting down trees and stuff on the parkways because they kind of overgrown and we can't see our major streets because of the trees are blocking our stop signs and certain trees on our parkways. So we are in the process of cutting down those trees. So if you see some branches, bushes or whatever in those areas or whatever, please be careful to kind of go around them a little bit. We are in the process of picking those up as well. And I do want to say this here, if I can back up just for a quick second, in reference to activities. I think because of the COVID, you know, we've been really restricted in reference to trying to come up with better activities for our children. And hopefully, you know, this COVID will lift up in our 2022 year to the point where we can actually really get out there and just really hustle and bustle a little bit more to try to get more activity for the children. So I do say COVID had a lot to do with that as well. Again, my condolences as well to the Steelers family on their loss. May God, you know, put his shields around you and comfort your spirits, comfort your heart. And the city of Markham, we feel you. In reference to the shopping center, just quickly as well, Mayor, in reference to the shopping center, I am in total agreement that the shopping center needs a total facelift. As our city is revolving and moving forward into a new century, and according to what our future plans is for our city, we need a facelift. I am also fully in agreement that I walked through, drove through as well, spent almost 3 hours at Canterbury and looked directly at the landscaping there as well. And I do feel that right now what we can do, we can pull out all those dead trees. We have a lot of dead trees and stuff in the area. So we could pull out those particular trees and probably, again, you know, trim up some of the shrubs, clean up around there real good or whatever. And then as the funds come in through the TIF, we can actually utilize that and start moving forward as well with that landscaping up there. But I'm in total agreement. If we're gonna do a total facelift, let's do it correctly and let's let Canterbury, because that is one of our biggest focus points. Let's make sure that it looks well, along with the new upkeeping of the building as well. In reference to the violence that's actually going on in our city, sometimes it's kind of hard to swallow, especially if you've been in this community for many years, which majority of us here have for many years, to actually see our city have some disheartening activities. It's hard. I do think there is some strategic plans that can take place and actually putting a lasso around these issues that we have with the shootings, not only with the shootings, but with the speeders, individuals who just don't respect the laws of the land, period. So I know there are some strategic plans, and you and I have had, you know, brief conversations and some depth conversations in reference to how we can kind of move forward with that. So I'm totally looking forward to sitting down at the table and trying to figure out the strategic plan on how we can combat that. And then finally, I just want to say, unfortunately, I didn't make the activities for the Hispanic festival and some of the park district openings at that particular time, but from what I'm hearing, not only from the constituents of Ward 1, but constituents from Ward 2, 3, and 4, that it was an awesome activity, awesome fest, and hopefully we can also do that again as well next year, along with the other festivities that we have for the city of Markham. And I'll say that will be the end of my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderlady Hampton. Alderlady McDowell, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Mayor, I will get with you with a plan that I think that might be good for our community, especially to bring in some implications for our young people. The programs that we just had this past 2 weeks, the rededication of the park was fantastic. I enjoyed it a lot because the swing was my favorite toy when I was a little kid. So I got out there and I got on the new swings, and I want to thank Ryan Company for the outstanding job in helping us to redevelop our parks. Didi's, I am so happy to have them in the city of Markham. Piggyback on what the mayor said when he did the opening before the ribbon cutting, he said, residents, this is our store. Let's value what we're bringing into our town. So we have more and more to come. So let's treasure what we're bringing into our town. Markham, I was telling one of my patients today that lived in another town, I told her I've been here 51 years and I have seen Markham go from bottom to middle to bottom, and now we're coming back up. So we have a lot to look forward to where Markham is now coming back up. So let's value what we have, and we have some downfalls in our town that we need to build back up, but it's coming to help our young people. I think this board will get together and really bring more activities here in our town for our youth. Also, the Heritage Festival was just outstanding. I learned so much from the little kids' garments when they got up before they performed. They actually told you every statistic, little detail in their garments of how it was made, the boots, the sleeves, things that I had no idea. You know, you just thought, oh, they're so cute with the outfits, but they explained everything of their culture, and I thought it was just outstanding. That festival was just outstanding. I want to congratulate Mrs. Flora Bryan, who is in the 2nd ward. She, so far that I know, is our oldest resident in the 2nd ward. Ms. Bryan has lived in Markham for 61 years. And God blessed us to be able to go out with some of the team of Markham and just show her some love. She made 99 years old. So that, what a blessing. I just want to thank God for her family and all of those that came out to help celebrate Mrs. Bryan. I also want to thank Amazon, because I'm in the 2nd ward and Amazon is in the 2nd ward. So I am so excited to have our Amazon in the city of Markham that's going to bring in lots of more jobs for our community. I know we talked about that gate, but I believe that them building a $1 billion company here, it's gonna be okay, because they're not gonna put up nothing that's not supposed to be to enhance our community. So Amazon, I welcome you to Markham, and that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderlady McDowell. Thank you very much. Okay. We'll go to public session.
That we open the meeting to the public.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, ayes have it. The clerk has sent me questions out. What's the questions that were brought in? We have people here in the audience. We have one resident here, so I'm not sure if she wanted to address the city council tonight. Yes. Oh, you gotta read. Perfect. Go ahead. You got it? Okay, we have to read our. I think that's it there. She's next. The last one. I think so. Yeah.
Attorney.
Yeah, that's it. Oh. Yeah. That's fine. That's the same thing. Okay, that's all right. Either one.
Statement and reminder regarding public comment rules and procedures while modifications to in-person meetings due to COVID-19 pandemic are in effect. Please be advised that due to the latest statewide disaster proclamation and relevant local disaster proclamations, pursuant to city ordinance number 20-2272, all persons desiring to make public comments may make them live, in person, if capacity permits, or via email submission to the city clerk's office at 4 p.m. on the day of the meeting. All public comments received via email in compliance with the city's previously adopted rules will be read during the public session portion of the city council meeting.
Okay. With that, will be unorthodox. We just put on the sign-in sheet. Did anyone? Oh,
No one signed it.
okay. Did you want to address the city council this evening, man?
No.
Okay. Okay, with that, we have,
Did you all want to? You good? Okay.
so with that, we have an announcement, but I'll read the we have one question here, like two questions. It's sent in by Mr. J.C. Suave. It was emailed 134@gmail.com. Clerk, it's a question to the mayor about the work on Springfield, and it goes into different things about Springfield, which I have no control over at all. So there is a separate board that deals with the ditch project. So I really can't answer anything about what work is going on over there. So if you want, I can get that information of who you can contact, and they can tell you about what goes on with the drainage ditch project, but that isn't something that the city is responsible for. So it was like a two-part question about what work is being done done over there and why, and I can't answer any of the questions about anything with that at all. The next question is about why are we giving taxable properties away? Also, Chapter 8 breaks to corporate companies. Well, I don't know of any taxable properties that we've given away at all. So I probably have to have a reference to what that may mean. I think that what's being said here is Class 8, not Chapter 8. We're familiar with that. And Thornton's was used as an example. We don't control the taxing of Class 8. It's done with the county. It's a county incentive, not a Markham incentive. We just have the luxury of being able to push it on through, and it makes it inviting for an incentive for people like Thornton. So that's what that does. So that is, I don't know what else to sort of, along with the town's gas account. I don't know, I think that there's a question about, I would have to think maybe motor fuel tax. If there's anything that he knows about the project with Thornton's, I can say that basically what happens when a company comes in and we don't improve the infrastructure in an area, then we have to work with them on recapturing the work that they did instead of us doing it. So, and that in this case would be paid through a motor fuel tax. That's how that kind of works. So, I hope that answers Mr. J.C. Swiley 134 emails questions. And if he wants to email, we can email tomorrow who the contacts are for the Springfield ditch project or the creek problem, creek thing that they call it, I guess, creek project. With that would be it. That's all we have. Now we have it announced.
This is from Rosemary Calvert of Thornton Township. I have a few things to read here. If you did not do your tax appeal for your second installment property tax, you can now do a board of review appeal. If Thornton Township is your township, you can come to the office from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. The address is 333 East 162 Street in South Holland, Illinois. If you're a homeowner, it is very important that you do a property tax appeal every year. At some point, they will agree with you and lower your taxes. Do not pay or hire someone to do an appeal for you. You can go to any township assessor's office. COVID-19 has a hotline number for information you need, or if you have if you've lost your car. The number is 1-800-889-3931 or 1-800-232-4636. Suburban Cook County residents who are at risk of experiencing homelessness because of the pandemic or financial hardship, there's a program that started October 4th, 2021, and ends October 29th, 2021. Cook County's website is www.cookcountyil.gov. The helpline number is 1-833-221-9821, and that's from Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. When you go to the website, you will see a search area. Put in rental assistance or mortgage assistance. That's all I have.
Okay. There a motion to close the meeting to the public?
May I make a motion that we close the meeting to the public?
All in favor?
Hi.
Okay, the next order of business would be that we go into executive session. Is there a motion?
May I make a motion of executive session?
For what?
This will be for litigation.
Litigation.
All in favor?
Hi.
Okay,
Mayor, attorney was saying, attorney was trying to get your attention.
I think that's what you wanted me to say, right?
No, well, yes, but also, Mayor, with regards to the items that were skipped under the attorney's report, I believe we need to have a motion to defer action on those.
Defer action.
Yes,
To defer action on the items.
yes, I believe they're mostly being deferred till the next meeting, so we need a motion to defer action or a motion to.
We can do an official defer if someone wants to do it, that's fine.
That's on B and F.
Do we need to
Well, we
do
just on
it
the items
after
that
we
we,
come out, because
that,
we already did this?
what's that?
I said, do we need to do it after? Because didn't we already second to go into executive session?
Well, I didn't get all in favor, so that was.
Oh.
The deferred action is on.
Well, we're actually gonna have another meeting, so
Yes.
we're gonna raise these again. But, so we're just making it official that we're gonna defer it to the next meeting. Yeah.
So we don't have to move.
Yeah, we can do it.
I'm sorry, say it again.
No, I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, we'll raise it again, but it doesn't hurt. Let's just
just make a motion to defer.
Would that be on, letter B?
On, well, just all the items, you just say all the items that were bypassed.
May I make a motion that we defer the, items?
Defer an action on the items that we bypassed.
That we defer the items that we discussed to revisit later.
Okay, a second.
Second.
Okay, any question? Roll call?
Alderwoman Hampton Hauser,
Yes.
Alderwoman McDowell,
Yes.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman Barron,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, now we can go on to the motion for executive session.
May I make a motion that we, go into executive session to discuss the litigation?
Roll call?
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderwoman McDowell,
Yes.
Alderman Barron,
Yes.
Alderman Hampton Hauser?
Alderman
Yes.
Hampton.
Okay, with that, anybody that is not part of the city council will have to ask you to leave the room. And anybody that is on Zoom, we will be disconnecting you because you're not part of the executive session.
Out of executive session now, after discussing litigation matter involving a case of Human versus City of Markham.
That's it. Okay, we'll move on. And we'll, the attorney, Lauren knows how to carry out from here. All right, with that, is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
So
May I make a
moved.
motion that we adjourn?
All right, roll call.
Alderwoman Hampton,
Yes.
Alderman Jones,
Yes.
Alderman McDowell,
Yes.
Alderman Barron.
Yes.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you.